Okay, this video is about something I talked about a lot in the past. Bareback riding and riding with the saddle. Which one is better for the horse, which one is better for the rider, and why do you ride bareback, and why should you ride with a saddle. I said before, a good rider is a good rider, a bad rider is a bad rider. Tools are just tools, which means you can be a good rider even if you ride with a saddle, and you can be a bad rider even if you ride bareback. The proof is very simple. You have good riders who ride with a saddle, and you have very bad riders who still ride bareback. So just riding bareback does not make you a good rider, and just riding with a saddle does not make you a bad rider. How you do it is more important than just doing it. That's one. Two, when we look at the horse, that's a completely different subject or issue than when we look at the rider or when we ask the rider. The problem is, as I said before, horse people, riders, say it's good for the horse when it's good for them, and they say it's bad for the horse when it's bad for them, because the horse does not talk and they don't want to admit. That does not make it true, that does not make it a fact, it's just an opinion. Especially when the other opinion is closer to the fact than your opinion, then that's a problem. Which means a lot of the things that they say about the saddle are not true, are completely the opposite of the truth. Why do they say it? Because they ride with the saddle. They don't want to admit that they are not good enough to ride bareback, so they say the saddle is for the horse. The saddle is good for the horse, but the fact is it's good for them. They say it's more comfortable for the horse's back. The fact is it's more comfortable for the rider's ass. That's a fact. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. The bit was created for us, not the horse. The martingale was created for us, not the horse. The saddle pad, the saddle, the stirrups are created for us, not the horse. Spurs and whips are created for us, not the horse. We are the ones who chose this relationship. Again, I'm not against it, but don't tell me it's for the horse. Don't say it's more comfortable for the horse. Don't say it was created for the horse. You can say that to a beginner who knows nothing about horses, but anyone who knows about horses knows when you say that you are lying to them and you are lying to yourself. It's that simple. Bareback riding is closer to the horse's nature, a fact, not an opinion. Bareback riding is much harder, fact, not an opinion. Bareback riding forces you to learn the natural way of balance on the horse's back because it is much harder, fact, not an opinion. Riding with the saddle is safer for the rider, fact, not an opinion. More comfortable and cleaner for the rider, fact, not an opinion. Much easier for the rider, fact, not an opinion. Which means developing your way of riding while riding with the saddle will be much slower. Much slower, fact, not an opinion. Now, I said fact, not an opinion. I cannot just say it's a fact without proving. Why is it a fact? Because you can see it with your own eyes. Everything I said or say is a fact means I saw it with my own eyes, I see it with my own eyes, and I can show it to you with your own eyes. If you don't want to search for it and look for it, that's your problem, not mine. So again, good riders are good, bad riders are bad, but lying happens a lot in so many things in horsemanship to a point that they twist facts. Say something that is completely the opposite of the truth because they just don't want to admit the truth. So, ride bareback or ride with a saddle, there is no real difference. At the end, how you do it is more important. Bareback riding is much harder, which means it will force you to develop yourself in a faster way. It will force you to learn the natural way of balance. Which means, or because, it's hard. It forces you to learn the natural way of balance because it is much harder. Driving an automatic car is much easier than driving a manual gear car. So, if it's harder, that means it will develop you, develop your way of riding, develop your talent in a much faster way. It's that simple. Do I need to get better in a faster way? Of course not. It's a better thing, but you don't need to do it, especially when the saddle is safer in a way, because sometimes the saddle is not safer. For example, if you fall down and your legs are still in the stirrups, that's a very dangerous thing that can happen. If the saddle is loose and it turns around the horse's body and you fall, it will be very, very dangerous. So sometimes, although these times are exceptions, the saddle can be much dangerous or much more dangerous than the bareback riding, but it's an exception. Usually bareback is much harder because there is nothing that will hold you on the horse's back, but with the saddle the stirrups will hold you on the horse's back. That will lead me to the second point, which is spreading the rider's weight on the horse's back. This is their excuse. They say when you ride with the saddle, it will spread the rider's weight on the horse's back. That's what they say. Okay. 1. People started riding horses bareback. Then after years they created pads. Then they created saddles. Then they created stirrups. Then they created metal stirrups. Then they created spurs and other things. So it started bareback. That's 1. 2. When they say it will spread the weight on the horse's back, you are smarter than them. So use your brain. If this rider is 70 kilos, or let's say his weight is 90 kilos, or 100 kilos, or whatever, when he rides bareback, all the weight is just on one spot or one area of the horse's back. Okay. When you ride with the saddle, that weight, that rider's weight, will spread all around the horse's back. How? My question is how? I know how. I'm asking you. How will the rider's weight spread all over the horse's back? How? It's very simple. Because he will put his body, his weight, on his legs, and the pressure will go on the stirrups, which means the whole saddle is going down. So he's not sitting on the horse's back, he's standing on the stirrups, which means the same 90 kilos, the same 70 kilos are going down on the horse's back, but not immediately from the saddle, which means, let's say the saddle is 10 kilos or 7 kilos or 3 kilos, which means your weight was 90 kilos, right now it's 97 or 95, so it's more, not less. They say it will spread, okay, but it's more weight, not less weight. I'm spreading it all over the horse's back, but it's more weight, not less. That's 1. 2. When you spread it, does that make it less painful? It's simple. Imagine a bomb. That bomb will be used on one city or on one place. If you spread the power of that bomb, the effects of that bomb, on 4 other cities, or just use it on one city, what is the difference? At the end, the power is 1. So actually using it on one spot, one area, is much better if the weight is the same. The proof of that is a fact, not an opinion, something you see with your own eyes. They say it's more painful for the horse to ride him bareback. 1. They say it because they don't ride bareback. Fact, you can see it with your own eyes. 2. They say it's more painful. Say, show me, they will not show you anything. With the saddle, it's more painful in the middle of the back, in the front of the back, in the back area of the back, and the girth itself will hurt the horse. And the saddle itself is moving down on the horse's back, which is against his nature, like a tiger or a lion jumping on his back. The only disadvantage, bad thing, in bareback riding is an exception. It does not happen a lot, but it's an exception. In the middle of the horse's back, sometimes there is pain, especially if you are heavy and especially if your outfit is very harsh on the horse's back. For example, jeans. If you ride bareback with the jeans and you are heavy, the middle of the horse's back might get some pain, which is something that happens even with the saddle, with much more painful things in the front, in the back, in the middle, and other things. It's just a fact, not an opinion. No opinions about it. Now you say people say the opposite. Yes, they are lying to you. Why? Because riding bareback is much harder. Not everyone can do it. And people lie when they cannot do something. They don't want to admit that they are not doing it because they're not good enough to do it. So they lie about it. To me, it doesn't matter. A good rider is a good rider. A Western rider is a good rider. A dressage rider is a good rider. They still ride with tools and equipment and saddles. But they never say bareback riding is more painful for the horse, that's why we ride with the saddle. They never say that. They know bareback is more important. They know bareback is more comfortable. They know it's better and closer to the horse's nature. And they still can and did do it. That's simple. So why ride bareback? I rode horses with the saddle. I rode horses bareback. I was born with horses, so I tried everything for years and years and years. Snaffle, Penham, bareback, with the saddle, long stirrups, short stirrups, spurs, whip. I tried everything. I'm convinced in what I'm doing. They are convinced in what they're doing. They should keep it up. I should keep it up. But lying and twisting facts means you care about business, you care about money, you care about the fans, you care about the ones who pay you money to learn from you instead of giving facts. The one who doesn't take any money from you, the one who doesn't give you anything until you ask him, has no reason to lie to you, especially when he says, everything I say, I saw. What is the proof that I saw it? Very simple. Go by yourself and see it. In that case, he cannot be a liar when he says, I saw it, go and see it. When he says, I saw it, don't see it, I already saw it for you, he's lying. So, the saddle is better for a lot of things. Bareback is better in a lot of other things. Twisting facts, changing reality happens a lot, especially in horsemanship. It does not change facts for good riders or people who know a lot about horses. So that's my opinion about bareback and riding with the saddle. Choose whatever you want, do whatever you want. At the end, you can do the right thing with or without the saddle. But the saddle is more comfortable and cleaner and easier for the rider, and it was created for the rider. Riding bareback is more comfortable for the horse. It forces you to learn the natural way of balance because it is much, much harder than the saddle. It is closer to the horse's nature. It is more comfortable to his back. All these things are facts, not opinions. And of course, anyone who can ride bareback will be much better if you give him a saddle and he uses it immediately. If he rides bareback, then he gets a saddle and uses the saddle tomorrow, he will become much better because he can stay on the horse's back bareback. So he can do it much better with the stirrups, with the saddle. But not everyone who can ride with the saddle can ride bareback. A lot of them, if they ride bareback, they will fall from the horse, even in trotting or slow canter or short canter, or even gallop. So, or even trot sometimes, because trotting bareback is much harder than cantering, by the way. So, all these things, facts. Why are they facts? You can see it with your own eyes, and that makes the fact. That's my opinion about these facts.